Okay, I think we're in. All right. Yay, hooray. Well, thank you so much for being here, Kelly. Everyone who is listening to this afterwards, welcome back to the Calm Bomb podcast. I'm going to introduce you to Kelly. I was introduced to her through a human design branding workshop, I think a year or so ago. And she's been a business guide, mentor. She's phenomenal. So I'm going to read her bio and then I'll turn it off to her to, in her own words, kind of describe her work. And then we'll take it from there. Kelly is the unapologetic brain behind Square Peg Studio, where branding isn't just about looking legit. It's about building a legacy that feels like you and actually makes you money. Known for her irreverent, no-fluff approach, she helps female founders ditch the Canva crisis. Yes, please. I just added that. Own their voice and build a brand that's impossible to ignore. She also happens to be a certified esthetician, skincare snob, and a full-blown olive tree people evangelist on a mission to age like a botanical witch with dun dun dun. That's all I have.
Well, that's funny. The whole thing didn't come in there. So yeah, basically right now I have been for the past 10 years really focusing on branding female founders. And really what that looks like are the solopreneurs who are kind of stuck in between this. I don't have enough money to pay for an agency and I have no idea how to DIY this myself.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of like the bridge between those two worlds.
Wow.
And before I was that, how I got into branding altogether was I was that. That was me. I was an esthetician and I was a health coach. I had a brick and mortar spa. It was a mini spa in Portland, Oregon.
Oh.
And then I had my son and started to think like, how do I juggle having an in-person experience? So I started to transition to digital. Which at the time is how I started creating my website. It needed to change. Yeah. And I didn't have the money to pay somebody to do it, even though I had just paid somebody, invested a lot in my site.
Yeah.
But I did like this massive rebrand. So basically what happened is now as I'm starting to play in both worlds and really honoring this idea of a personal brand, like what does it look to bring in all aspects of yourself? Yeah, very specific container.
Yeah.
To look at what does it look like creating a personal brand and bringing all these like multidisciplinary, seemingly different aspects of yourself under one personal brand.
Yeah.
So that is kind of why it's like, well, it seems like this is random. She's a brand expert and she's into skincare. Like
no.
But what this actually all comes down to for me, it's self-expression. So my big like kink is women feeling safe enough to feel seen and to really understand what it feels like to be fully self-expressed. Because I think oftentimes we don't even know what that is.
Yeah.
And so then, or if you even have a taste of it, rarely do we actually feel safe enough to say anything or do anything or be out there and be visible. So yeah, I am really interested in women expressing themselves. So however that looks, that's what I'm here to help with.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. I loved everything you've said, but like that last piece, I got like, I don't know what people call it, chicken skin, goose pimples, whatever it is, because that's exactly it. Like, it's so hard to be a woman in general and like stacking on all these other things of, I want to have agency and autonomy. And if we choose to have kids or we don't have kids, or we're in multiple different relationships and multiple different relationships with money and all this other stuff. And it's like, then you add business and it's like, there's no manual. I mean, there's no manual for any of that other stuff, but like it gets even trickier. So how did, well, a couple things to like peel back the layers. Maybe the first thing is, how did you feel when you were making that transition from like in-person esthetician or just in general, just working in one way and then pivoting into, I can do this for myself. Yeah, like taking that jump. I don't know.
I think that was like probably one of probably the more profound, like, oh my God, I knew what it felt like in that moment to fully trust myself. I don't know where I got the guts. I don't know how I knew, because that wasn't my pattern as I continued. In fact, I actually saw my business decline the more I started to outsource information, knowledge. But at that moment, I was following a nudge. I really enjoyed it. And it was really frustrating at times where I was like, oh my God, I want to throw my computer out the window. This is, I'm never going to get this. But there was something there that I was like, I unlocked a part of myself that because I did not think I was techie. I did not consider myself a creative. I did not consider myself a designer. So I kind of stand in the face of all of that and discover that I was all of those things. If I just stayed the course, I actually don't know what happened, like what made me do that, but I'm so thankful that it did.
Yeah.
Because really what ended up happening is I found a love. I found I was good at something. I never wasn't a good student. I was like barely skating by in college. And so then to have this like revelation, you know, I was in my, I think I had just turned 30. To have this revelation in my early 30s.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, oh my goodness, there is like hidden talent in me that I had no idea exists. So it gave me this confidence, this inner knowing, this self-trust. And basically what happened is I just put out a site. And now looking back, I'm like, wow, that was not good. That was not a good site. But I didn't know any better at the time. And I'm so proud of myself for doing it anyway. And I had a friend that was also a health coach at the time.
Yeah.
And she looked at my site and she trusted me enough to do hers and hired me to be her copywriter and her website designer.
Oh.
And so it started with her.
Yeah.
And then I acknowledged, or like, you know, she was also putting out a cookbook at the time.
Yeah.
Balls on her site. And
Gosh.
I got it, like the referrals just sort of built upon each other. And I was completely self-taught and self-trusting. And then I got into business and started to be like, okay, now I need to go take this course and go do this certification. And I definitely disconnected from the ease and the magic after doing all that. I'm sure I gained a lot.
Yeah.
Also, I lost a lot of my inner compass in sort of over consuming information.
Yeah, that's I think the tricky thing is like there's no manual, so we need some sort of guidance of like how does this stuff work? But then it's also like you said, the inner compass, like, okay, but we gotta steer ourselves, not let ourselves be steered. So I don't know, any advice there of like anything that I guess present day you would have told past you, and not like a regret thing, but just like, okay, you know, remember to do this, or like a helpful nudge or something. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely. I would say the biggest thing comes back to like this feeling in your body. Like, does it feel like you're making a decision out of fear or desire? So you can feel when it's like fear, like I'm not going to be good enough if, or nobody will buy from me if, or I can't charge these prices if I don't, or, you know, whatever it feels like. You can almost feel this like constriction, like I have to do this, even though sometimes you may not have the money, the time, the energy, instead of like a place of a decision, like, oh my God, I can't wait to do this. Or this is so much fun. Like I remember when my son would go down for a nap, I'd like, even though I probably hadn't slept the night before, had, you know, I don't even know if I'd showered for the day, I'd literally run to my laptop and just open it and start creating. Like I needed to create.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love
that's where we access like our divinity. It's through these like, moments of, and there is no greater way to bring something out into the world than when you're in that state, rather than, it's like kind of the difference between push and pull, I guess.
That's a good way to, yeah, I like that a lot, because it's like we're very disconnected, or maybe I won't speak for everybody, but for me, I find that's the hard thing, is like being connected to the body and breathing, right? And like, you know, drinking water, like whatever it is, like not constricting and feeling like I have to get this done because society has, like the matrix has put all of this in me, but like actually connecting. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I was going to ask one of the things, I just want to sneak it in here. Along all of this that we're talking about, is there a piece of media that could be music, book, show, TV, anything that has changed or shaped your life in some way? It doesn't have to be business, but like anything. Yeah.
Yes, I would say honestly, oh my God, now I don't know if I'm going to remember the name of it. It's Elizabeth Gilbert's. It's something creative.
Big Magic, or
Big Magic.
Yeah, something. Yeah.
That was the book I read at the same time I was transitioning. I was also taking Ash Amberjay's copywriting course, which also that changed me as well. It was like right at that same time, but what both of those in combination did was give me permission to honor myself as a creative.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, I'm not, but we all are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's right. And the permission thing is like waiting, you know, when
Mhm.
can I, how should I, like, who told me I can? Like, can I really? It's all of this
Totally.
rhetoric. It's hard. So I almost feel like you're not a permission giver, but like you're the safe space for women to be like, heck yes, you can do it. Like, who said you can't? So,
I mean, I think like I literally, when I was thinking about starting a podcast, I wanted to call it Who Says.
I said, I love that. Exactly. Yeah,
Says
because
who?
yeah,
Says who?
exactly. No,
Yeah.
and we're saying it to ourselves. I feel like this feedback loop, we've internalized it, and it's so hard.
Totally. Yeah, it's subconscious programming that we have
Mm,
no idea that we're the ones holding us back from our greatest dreams. We
yeah,
think we're keeping ourselves safe, but all we're doing is keeping ourselves small.
yeah. No, I will always remember that that call we did. I think it was a year ago or something about psycho-cybernetics,
Oh, yeah.
that book, and
Yeah,
I have that on my bedside table. I'm just like, ooh,
I know. I love that book. That one's a
yeah,
really good one too. Yes, I remember there was really impactful about the guy who couldn't, the bodybuilder who couldn't lift the pencil.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah,
in his mind, he had it. He basically like formally could lift. Was like some Olympic champion,
yeah.
and because he was hypnotized into that he was weak, he
Yes,
couldn't even lift a pencil.
I'm at, yeah,
That's
crazy.
what we're doing to ourselves.
Exactly. No, exactly. Yeah, the mind is incredible. The so much power we hold, and we don't even realize how we're holding
Totally.
ourselves back. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, another question, what does someone need to know? And maybe we hit on this, but what does someone need to know to understand you? Maybe I ask it again. I just ugh. To understand you, what does someone need to understand about your journey? Or maybe like to understand your work? We could put it either, but
Um,
to understand about your journey, yeah.
I think that everything is self-taught.
Mm,
That I had to believe in myself enough to say yes and to expand my capacity for I can do this and like
mm,
really hold myself to it. Because
mm,
when I first started, I couldn't. And
mm,
so my thing has been, instead of using the self-taught against myself, like
yeah.
I don't have a professional design degree. I actually did get a copywriting degree, but I don't actually think it was one, but whatever. Technically I have that, but I think it's a joke. But like you can hold these standards against yourself.
Mm,
I think ultimately, again, if I could come back to one thing, it's that I
mm,
decided I wanted it and
yeah,
that was enough and I would figure it out.
that's
And
right.
so yeah, I mean, I think you have to be the one that believes in yourself enough to get through the parts
Mm,
you don't believe, and you won't believe for a little bit. And that doesn't mean anything's gone wrong.
no, that's right. That's kind of where I'm at this point in my business of like it was legally formalized in 2021 at like right after pandemic, and I thought about it because I'm like, well, I want to do something for me. Like I think the seed was always there, but
Mhm.
nothing ever came of it because I was always working for someone else. Because that was fine, even though I knew I was like it was a vampire type situation. I was just being sucked from all energy all the time. And I didn't know, well, what the heck type of business am I gonna create? I don't even know.
Mhm.
And I went down that rabbit hole of like, okay, you need to have this business looks like this online and all this stuff. And it wasn't until I started this podcast last year that I was like, I just need to figure out who I want to be or like who I am, the voice. And
Totally.
and I started that. And so the reason I say all of that is like
Amazing.
the permission we give ourselves and this in between of like, okay, am I enough or am I giving myself permission in this stage? Like it's a constant, I think, maybe evolution or like constant seasonality of okay, I give my permission, like I'm giving permission to my past self, to my present self. I don't know if you've experienced something like that,
Oh,
but
totally. And I
like,
think to know that we're all doing it, we're all in that. Even the ones that are the certified experts. Like I think we're all in this. Like, am I doing it right? Is this okay? Can I get like?
yeah,
Can I do it like this? Is
yeah,
everybody gonna like this? Am I
yeah,
gonna be judged?
yeah,
Like it is when you decide to go and do something, especially with entrepreneurship, that generally you're putting yourself out there and you're asking for money. Like those are two very, very triggering things.
yeah, yeah.
And so to go and do that in any sort of capacity, there's a lot of risk involved. and it's getting comfortable with this feeling of
Yeah.
riskiness. Like
Yeah.
that is kind of entrepreneurship. It's your resilience with risk.
Mm. No, that is so true. It's and I don't even like to work out I mean, I do in certain ways, but it's like that muscle of
Totally.
risk. Yeah. Anything in that you're like has helped you not get used to it, but like, yeah, get more used to risk if you were depending on like where you were coming from, risk aversion versus like, or maybe you always had a comfort with risk, but like anything with
I think with risk, I think honestly, a lot of it is like knowing that it's happening. Like
okay,
this
okay.
feels risky. This is a risk.
Mm,
Anything's gone wrong because your brain is immediately like, we're unsafe.
yeah, yeah.
And like when you start to get in that place, then you start to actually do things that create much higher probability of the risk not working out. And ultimately, I really do believe there is no like failure. There's only winning or learning. I didn't come up with that statement. Somebody else did.
Oh,
But
I was like, that's so good.
yeah, that's not me. But basically it is like that is entrepreneurship. That's how you
Mm,
learn. Literally doing.
mm,
Okay, this didn't work. And you won't know until you actually try. So the risk is actually the path to the reward.
that's right.
And so I think there's that part. There's the other part that it's funny that you brought up the gym, because actually a lot of what keeps me going is my strength training. It's like when you are actually strength training, like sometimes you actually get bulkier, you see no difference,
It's
you're
true.
really tired, you're really sore,
It's true.
and you're like, why am I even doing this? And
Right.
so it's really easy to give up. But if
Mm,
you keep going, it's almost like an ice cube melting. Like
yeah.
all of a sudden, you start to see results. Like you
Yeah.
think that ice cube isn't changing. All of a sudden, it's a puddle.
Mm, mm,
And so that's how it is in entrepreneurship too. You think nobody's liking your Instagram post, nobody's responding to your emails, nobody's buying your offer. And
yeah.
so if you can kind of stay in this place that it is working or it
Mhm.
will work, or if it's not working, I'll evaluate it and figure it out.
Right. Right.
Just knowing that it like I'm going to show up, I'm going to figure this out. If this path
Mhm.
doesn't work, I'll figure out why it didn't work and I'll correct and I'll do something different. And
Yeah.
so having your own back in this, that because our brain immediately wants to go to the place of emergency, something's gone wrong, and
Yeah.
then back to what you knew. And
Yeah.
it no
Yeah.
longer fits anymore.
That's
So that
right.
doesn't actually work either.
That's
So
right.
it's like when a mom tries to be who she was before she had the baby,
Mm,
like it, you just kind of feel in like this messy middle. Like your old self doesn't fit, and your new self still feels real uncomfortable because you have yet to develop it. So I
yeah.
think Joe Dispenza calls it the river of misery when you're like actually in the path of change.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I almost had I really like mythology, and when you said the river of misery, I don't know why my mind went to like Hercules Disney movie and like seeing I don't know, somewhere in I don't even know what it's called, Tartarus or whatever the land that Hades rules. I just saw like a river. I was like, "Oh my gosh, not great." But I mean, yeah, that's really I don't know how to define that, but I feel like that it resonates so much because we are trying, or like society has always taught us to be safe, to stick your job, be secure. So
Mhm.
for some of my listeners who are still working for someone else, that's kind of how I bucket it. Those who are starting, like budding entrepreneurs, and those who are still like, no, that's not for me. I just want to make the system work for me and make it more sustainable. So anything in terms of risk for that, because at least for me, that was me for 10 years, like trying to make the system work until I just had enough. And I'm like, I can't work under anybody else. I have to just be my own boss. But for those who they're like, that's just not me, but they're playing with this river of misery, or like the risk, how much risk they can take inside of corporations or whatever that looks like. Any advice, or like how can they?
I think
Yeah.
honestly, like hating your job or being going into your job, like that's not going to work ever. You never want to leave a job hating it. You want to leave it loving it, like
Yeah.
leaving it from a place of like
Mhm.
I made this as best as it could be. And like sometimes maybe that means you don't even actually like the work. Maybe that means I'm working to live.
Yeah.
This job is actually funding my life. This is allowing me to go on a vacation. This is allowing me to eat the food that I want to eat. It's allowing for my roof over my head. And so figuring out like how do I not hate every, because the thing is when you're hating every moment of it, the only person that's suffering is you.
That's right. That's right.
And so when you're waking up and you're living in this dread and this this like, you know, almost like deep resentment. And it's very, very hard to energetically attract another job, a relationship with a colleague, like anything better. Like think about the bitter person that walks in the room. Nobody wants to be around them. Nobody wants to promote them. Nobody wants to ask them to do more things. Like nobody wants to acknowledge them. And so how do you get to a place where you're not the bitter person in the room? Like your situation can still suck, but you can make it not suck. But it really comes back to everything comes back to the narrative in your head.
Yeah.
So if you're in that position, I would find like, how do I make this great? Like I do it. Like, I don't like emptying the dishwasher or folding laundry, so I put it and like I'm like, how can I make this fun? How can I make this an enjoyable time? Like, what can I do to make this? You know, maybe like, you know, I get to sit outside of my lunch, or maybe you get to like revel in the fact that you do like a lot of entrepreneurs that once they start entrepreneuring, they're like, I would kill for the confines of the 9 to 5.
Right. Yeah. That's true.
Like what that feels like of not feeling like your brain is constantly trying to solve a riddle of how do I promote myself? How do I create this funnel? How do I figure out this tech hack? Like
that's true.
There is freedom in working for somebody else too. And so find that. Like create the feeling that you think a different situation will create while you're in the same one, and you will eventually attract the circumstance that matches the feeling.
Wow, I love that. Yeah, that's so, I mean, because that's, I think I've always, there's some healing and things to work through, but that's been, I think, something that I've struggled with is, you know, being told what to do, operating within the structure, and feeling like, yeah, but I want to be seen and heard and be me completely, and the self-expression. But it's like the balance, I think, for me with that was, but there, like you just said, there is freedom there. Like there's not, the grass isn't always greener, or like one isn't necessarily better than the other, but it's just honoring ourselves, finding the freedom, listening to our gut, all of that. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, it's about creating it. Like you get to be, no matter what your circumstances, you actually have control over the feeling of it. That is not put upon you. It's what you're thinking about it that creates the feeling.
Yeah.
So if you feel stifled in your work, then what do you need to think to make yourself feel more expanded? Maybe it's yes, but right now, yes, between 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Time is here. But ultimately at 5 o'clock, I get to go maybe you do start doing a side hustle, or you start working on something. Maybe you start writing a book, or maybe you start creating art, whatever it is. Like that gets to be your time. And currently the work that you're in is funding that time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and I think that's something that another struggle is the time is money concept. And in entrepreneurship, like what is your value, or what is the worth? And it's like, I remember taking pay cuts just because I had the opportunity to do so, because I positioned myself in a way to do that. And the risk appetite was like, I was comfortable with the pay cut, like $50,000 less pay cut a year. But at the end, like that was my path to freedom in that moment, that less money equaled more time or more space or fully remote. So I feel like it's asking the I don't know if it's a hard question, depends on who I'm asking, but it's asking these questions of like, what does freedom look like? It looks different for each and every one of us in different phases of our lives. And it's hard then to like the fear versus love versus, you know, like, do I make a decision? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think you brought up a good point. I think a big part of it is defining what it is that you want. So many times we're like kind of wandering around, like saying what it is that we don't want, but flip it and figure out, well, what do you want? And then how do I become the person that creates that? So what would that person who has that result, what would they be doing in this moment?
Yeah.
What would they be thinking? How would they be handling this?
Yeah. And that's so hard, because I think reverse engineering things is not a skill taught, or, you know, all of these things is just, and it's not.
I mean, we're not even taught that our thoughts create our feelings. So we're thinking that it's an external thing perpetually, like our boss demotes us, or we have to work later tonight, or we have to have this job, otherwise we won't have a home, or we won't have food. Like we don't realize how much control we have over how that impacts our actual vessel.
That's right. That's right. No, exactly. Yeah. So ultimately, I feel like we have control. We even have control over how much we have control over like ourselves and everything. What other, just to go back to some of my guiding questions, what other life experiences have shaped your path or your business to like get to where you are now? Was there anything that you're like, maybe I wouldn't have, I mean, I don't know. I think that if we changed any moment in our lives, we wouldn't be who we are to a certain, but like, are there moments that kind of highlight, and you, if you feel comfortable sharing, that you were like, wow, this moment really, I don't know, pivoted me there.
For me, the overconsumption, which led to overspending, which created a tremendous amount of debt in my business, which put a ton of pressure on my business. I outsourced before I was in any position to, but I didn't know any better. And like, I'm thankful for it because it is going to end up being part of my story of, where I would love to help other entrepreneurs. Is like, really, your business can be super duper simple.
Yeah.
And I think what we're looking for when we're investing is we're hoping that they will tell us what's going to make us be great. They will take the burden of the failure away from us. I don't think we know we're doing that when we're doing it.
Right.
But I think that's, for me, that's what I was doing when I was investing. I was like, oh, the Facebook ads person will know, or this OBM will make me all sort of organized, and then I'll be okay. Or, and I think even when people hire people in branding, like if they design a pretty website, then I'll be legit. And it's like, it just, wherever you go, there you are. And so you're going to have to, I think, the more complicated you make your business, the more you actually inch upon your free time. And then you also, which creates more pressure on a business that needs less pressure, especially when you're first starting.
Yeah.
And so, which also creates like almost like this like weird, I don't know, I almost feel like it put clamps on your messaging where it almost feels like you're trying to convince people because you're coming from a place of almost desperation.
Yeah.
Like, this debt to pay, I need to make this work.
Right.
Instead of from this place of, I'm so proud of this offer. I'm so like dying to help somebody with this. Like, these are two very different energies that are coming out there.
Right.
I think, I'm glad I invested because I believe that too. Like that was part of my journey. It actually put me in therapy. It brought up a ton of stuff for me to work on, to heal. It was definitely a mirror.
Yeah.
But if I could have, like, if someone's like, you can change something and I would still get all the results of the healing.
Yeah.
I would be very, very careful about investing.
Yeah, that is true. That's something, and going back to like from my experience, like I was really scared on the invest in the financial. I think on the one hand, I'm like, I can just spend all my time and burn the candlestick on both ends. And because I was afraid of, but on the other hand, I think limited me from getting help that I could have used, or I don't know.
I think it's a delicate balance. I think I think it can work against you too if you're using up all of your energy.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like you can't read the label from inside the bottle. So it's like you do need someone to help you figure out how to do this. And there is a time for experts, but I think 100%. I would just be on to yourself if you're continually doing it, or your nervous system is getting dysregulated because you have so much debt. It is very hard to market from that spot. Ask me how I know.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, but now now we learn from you. And it's such a hard place, I think, or at least for me, it's a hard place of like, I've job hopped forever. And I used to wear it as a badge of, I don't know, sadness or failure. But now I'm like, no shit. Like, actually, it's a badge of honor. Like, all of these scars and calluses, going back to weight training, like, make us stronger if we choose to look at, but it's like,
yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think it's by accident. I think it's part of your school. Like it's how you learn. It's what makes you the best person to help somebody else in the position. Like, yeah.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Well, what are you currently offering? How's your business look now? I guess just to kind of plug that in. And then my other question was going to be, how has your business, I remember we talked about being an esthetician and all that, did you work with any like skincare in the beginning, or how has your business changed, and then what does it look like now is the
I
question.
mean, now you're catching me completely like in flux, but basically when I first started, all I was an esthetician, and then I was a health coach and an esthetician. So I was definitely more focused in like the wellness space. And like I said, I had my son, then pretty much focused on branding exclusively for 10 years. I rarely brought in the skincare or the wellness. Okay. And now I'm 44. I'm navigating midlife, and I'm like, I think this is the best I've ever felt. It's the most energy I've ever had. It's the most truthful I've ever felt.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, dude, we are given a sour stack of what aging actually looks like. It's pretty freaking phenomenal. And so I want to redefine this. I want people to, I want this to actually be the place where women start to come unmuted. And so that's a big part of my focus. And I'm back in, I found what really woke this up in me was a skincare line that somebody introduced to me. I was like, this is really good. It's really safe. It's really good. It's like, I love the mission behind the company. I love like what they stand for. I love how they treat the environment. I love how they treat the employees.
Yes.
It was basically everything I was looking for when I was an esthetician. And so, and then it also puts you in community with all these other women that are very much like, they're closer around. Well, I don't know if all of them are around my age, but the ones I keep running into, like, kind of like having this like second coming. And so I don't know, I'm having this moment of, this is also a path to freedom because it's a direct sales company as well. And I know it has its own reputation, but I'm kind of like, why are we, why does that have a reputation?
Yeah.
Like, there's so many women that have like really found so much freedom in these opportunities. And I'm like, I don't know, I'm kind of like between the actual product and then my mission of like, that's what I was spending all my free time on, was researching supplements.
Wow.
Like skincare, that's what I've been doing. Like when I'm
oh my gosh,
decorating a website. But anyway, so basically what it's looking at right now is like bringing these two worlds together. And really it is this whole idea of a personal brand. Like what does it look like to own every part of you and create something that is a showcase version of that? When typically we want to hide bits and pieces because we think that'll be more palatable or that'll make more sense or that'll be more marketable. When really what is actually the most marketable right now in this day and age is the personal brand. It is the person, not the actual company. And so people are very, very interested in the person behind the company. Even with like the big companies, they want to know the mission behind it. Like,
right.
It's the products sell because of the person behind it. And so I think for a lot of women, no woman wants to be invisible. That's the thing.
No, right.
The only reason that she may be or thinks that she does, it's because she's afraid. And so I'm interested in breaking that fear down because I want that for me. I want everybody, no matter who they are, no matter what they do, no matter what they look like, they feel safe.
Yeah.
They'd be fully self-expressed.
I love that.
And so right now it's this kind of like amalgamation of my love of branding, which really has always been about self-expression.
Yeah.
And my love of like creating the best possible life you can have.
Yeah.
Through whatever that means for you. Like I love skincare because I like that the better I feel like my skin looks, because I had really bad acne growing up and it really wrecked my confidence.
Yeah.
The better you feel like you look and the better you feel inside, live and vital you feel in your life.
Oh my gosh, amazing. There's so much. I'm like, maybe that was just the mic drop and this is the end of the episode. It's like, that's it, enough said. She said everything. No, but I'm just like, yeah, like women, as I think, there's so many things. Being invisible, like not even realizing that I felt invisible, or like it's an inheritance as all of us women just collectively. So I love all of that, what you've just said, and like the whole person behind the brand. Like, I mean, I think that's it. And that's why I don't know, I'm sometimes a bit, oh my God, why did I go into business now? Like there's so much, happening. But I'm also kind of like, this is kind of cool because people are really, at least those of us who are in business, looking into like Substack or Instagram or all these things, like
Yep.
people are creating worlds, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"This is really exciting." I'm like, I want a world built.
I know, like people get to have these Substacks that are like memoirs.
Yeah.
Like I'm really into reading memoirs right now for this whole reason. You get to hear somebody's story, and it's all female memoirs. Like
Yes. Yeah.
she gets to be heard. I think like if I could have like one line, it's that
Yeah.
you get to be heard, and you get to be seen, and you get to be revered.
Yes. Oh, revered. Yeah. Divinity and revered. And then I don't know why I keep thinking of Hades, but like there's a death and rebirth element that's coming for me. So I
Oh,
love
totally. Like I'm a love of Phoenix. Like
Yeah.
there's a moment I actually lived in Phoenix. And it was like that was my death to Phoenix
Oh my
era.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I mean, I think
Mm,
it is a great time to be a digital entrepreneur
mm,
because really what it is, I think it's women shedding their skin
that's right.
and starting to become insanely visible. And women are doing a really good job of supporting one another.
That's right. No, I love that. Yeah. I mean, I feel like all the communities I see, it's always women entrepreneurs. Not to say that I don't see men entrepreneur, but especially in the digital space, it's like, and I'm not trying to promote you have to do all the things, but like if you can, if you want to, if you want whatever it is you want, you can have it.
You absolutely can have it. And too, like if you want to keep it really simple, find your medium.
Yeah.
Find your medium and get really expressed in it. And
Yeah.
I don't know, and like start witnessing other people do it. Like that's the other thing too, is like I'm seeing some of these women so beautifully promote themselves. And I'm like, what they're doing in their unabashed honesty is setting me free. So
Yeah.
that's the other thing is your honesty, your truth telling is setting somebody else free. It's not only setting you free, it's setting someone else free.
That's beautiful. Yeah, we don't even know like the impact that we have. And I think that's something that gets me about social media is all of this metrics and blah, blah, but it's also like the invisible the way that things land energetically and throughout time. It's like, I don't know, something lands when they need it or when I had to say it and it just poof and it's or like when you made the move and you trusted yourself. It's like who knew that in that moment, like all that energy, like it just we never know. It's so
Totally.
beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, any other like recommendations? I'm curious now, memoirs, Substack, anything you recommend to like consume that's
Oh God. Oh God. The memoir I just read was The Many Lives of Mama Love.
oh, okay.
It
I've never
was
heard of
so good.
that.
It's nothing related to business. It was just
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
a story of
Mm,
a really difficult story. And she's so
mm,
vulnerable in the way that she tells it.
mm,
Really,
mm.
really beautiful.
Oh
So
my gosh.
yeah, I mean, I just think about female memoirs and like watch the bravery
Okay.
that comes through them. Like they've got to tell the truth.
Yeah.
And they're doing it in such a way. And a lot of times they're the ones reading their books too. Where
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I can put up this Instagram post on my favorite skincare. She's talking about being raped by her father. I can do this. Like,
Wow.
yeah, I mean, these books
Yeah.
are like they are
Mm,
not in the memoirs, not the Mama Love one, actually the other one I'm listening to right now. But I
wow.
mean, they're brutally honest. And so,
Wow. Yeah.
but these women are going first. And so, like, more please, let's all do this.
No, that's right. And this is honest. I mean, I think I'm an amateur astrologer or like a self-assessment, like collectionist. And, whatever's happening in the cosmos now, there's like a lot of, it feels just turbulence and eclipses. And all I'm trying to say with that is there seems to be a beautiful, if we choose to say it as beautiful, I choose to say it as beautiful, like breaking in or like old systems and patterns and like we started in the beginning. I think I don't remember if we were online like recording but now in the Trump administration, like if they're saying fuck it, well, I'm saying fuck it, like let's just burn it all down and hope like re-nourish the soil and see what we can plant and harvest and do this thing the way we want it. I love the raw honesty that you've commented. It's that's what we need. I feel that's the medicine.
And I think that is like what we're left with, especially with AI. I love AI. I think it's a beautiful muse, but I also think what happens is now we're craving the real.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I think that is where, and that's personal branding right now. That is that is sharing your truth, living in your shame,
Yeah. Yeah.
and saying it out loud and letting people see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It takes the charge off of it for you, and it sets somebody else free, and we normalize it and we realize how connected we are.
Right.
And that's what we actually need.
That's right.
No
Yeah.
more this polarization and this division, because we need to remember that we all want the same things. We're very, very connected. We're all afraid of the same things.
Yes.
And I think the more truth that we can actually tell,
Mm.
I think that's where our healing really comes through.
Oh my gosh. I'm like mic drop moment, but I just I think where I want to end, this is never an ending. It's hard for me to always end these things because I'm like endings are just new beginnings. Like it's hard to but a first step, like I'm trying to put myself in anyone who's listening in their shoes, and fear is scary and real, and they're getting used to the pushing risk tolerance and I don't know, finding themselves in new ways. What would be maybe a first step that either has helped you or that you're trying or that I don't know, to get them in that
I
realm?
think honestly, what I'm being introduced to, and I'm like, I don't know how it's taken me 44 years to figure this out, is to ground. I mean, like
Mhm.
when emotions are high, intelligence is low.
Mm.
So whether you're really, really excited, whether you're anxious, whether you're really, really nervous, there is no good decision that can come of that. Like your brain isn't at its highest capacity to problem solve with you.
Right.
So I think looking at whatever it takes, whether that's a meditation, whether it's
Mm.
running, whether it's some form of calming your nervous system down. And I know that like I used to get so annoyed by those words. Like, don't tell me to be regulated, don't talk about my nervous system, don't say the word somatic, don't say embodiment. All of those used to drive me bananas. Like that was the last thing that I wanted to do. But the thing is, when you don't make a decision from a place that feels like you have your highest brain space online,
Mm.
I really have to do a decent amount of cleaning up. There's a lot of like, whoops, like had I, like that's where the impulsivity comes from. That's where you start creating narratives in your head where you're like, no, that person doesn't like me, or my boss is about to fire me, and then we kind of this like spin out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we kind of create an outcome that we were fearing with when maybe that would have never happened. We sort of like we create the result we're trying to mitigate.
Ooh.
And so I would say do what you can to calm. Like the pause really is where your power lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know that sucks because I'm somebody that wants to like move.
Yeah.
I mean, how I had to meditate is I was like, I had to vacuum. Put a meditation in. To be like, okay, I'm doing something. And then it was like, oh God, there's something here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can get free meditations on YouTube. Like maybe meditation isn't your thing, maybe journaling is, maybe you do need to run, whatever it is. But I would say,
Yeah.
whatever you can do to get back in your body and calm down, and then look at your circumstance. And I would just start paying attention to what you're thinking. If nothing more, just do that.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I will leave that mic drop moment.
Okay.
I commit to it. I promise. And now I want to ask, where can people find you if they want to work with you, learn more about you?
Come on over to Square Peg Studio because that's where everything is like latest. So
Okay.
I'm sorry, at Instagram on Square Peg Studio. So it is square.peg.studio.
Okay.
And I do have a website, but my Instagram will be keeping up with me, especially as I'm evolving.
Okay. Awesome. Amazing. Well, thank you for being here, everyone who's listening.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yes, no, this is amazing. Yeah, nothing else to say. I'm going to keep it short because I can be a chatterbox, but this is amazing.
I really appreciate you having me.
Thank you.
Bye, doll.